Will LeBron overtake Kareem as the highest scorer in NBA history? Currently 4,300 points away, and LeBron is still in peak condition, as he'd say himself. So let's discuss the likelihood that LeBron will overtake Kareem as the highest scorer. Firstly, what surprised me here is the age that Kareem was drafted into the NBA. I assumed around 19 or 20, but he had 4 years at UCLA and was drafted at 22, unlike LeBron, who came straight out of high school. So obviously this is an advantage to LeBron, but Kareem is possibly the greatest scorer ever and with the most unstoppable move ever, his skyhook. And over his 20-year career, he averaged 24.6 points per game while playing in 1,560 games. Insane numbers. But imagine how many more points he could have scored if he was drafted at 18, let's say. And his average number of games per season was 78. And let's say he averaged 24.6 points per game in these 4 seasons, which would actually be quite a conservative assumption, as his 2 highest scoring seasons were in his first 3 years in the NBA. So 78 multiplied by 24.6 multiplied by 4 would give Kareem an insane 7,675 points extra, leaving him on just over 46,000 points, which I think we can safely say LeBron probably wouldn't catch him. But going back to LeBron, he's not just a scorer like Kareem, he's also one of the best and most consistent passers in the league for over a decade, averaging 7.4 assists per game over his career and an insane 10.6 assists per game last season. In fact, LeBron ranks 8th overall in assists all time and can likely move a spot or 2 higher by the time he retires. But something interesting I found is that over Kareem's career, teams on average would average 108.9 points per game, whereas in LeBron's career, teams have only averaged 101 points per game. On the other hand, these past 2 years there has been a big leap in points per game, from 106.3 in the 2017-18 season to over 111 in both the 2018-19 season and 2020-2019 season. But nevertheless, that would mean if Kareem and LeBron were equally good scorers for their era, Kareem would have scored 7.7% more points than LeBron. Because 108.9 divided by 101.1 times by 100 gives 107.7. So in theory, if LeBron is as good at scoring as Kareem, LeBron should score 35,642 points in his career, but this is assuming that LeBron will play 302 more games exactly, and that in his future seasons 107.7 points per game will be averaged, and that both of these are very unlikely. But going back to the question and the reason as to why you clicked on this video, yes, I do think LeBron will overtake Kareem, and I'm happy to explain why. First of all, LeBron is still physically and mentally in the prime of his career. From his 2003 draft class, guess how many of them are still in the NBA? 20? 10? 5? No, just 3. Him, Carmelo Anthony and Kyle Korver. Melo, who's now a washed version of his previous self, and Kyle Korver, who will likely retire soon. But LeBron, he has at least another 4 years in him, minimum. And another advantage to LeBron is him being drafted 4 years earlier, as previously mentioned. And finally, how LeBron is averaging more points than Kareem was, while being in a lower scoring league. LeBron has averaged 27.1 points per game compared to Kareem's 24.6. And although this last season was one of his lowest scoring seasons at 25.7 points per game, he's still one of the most formidable scorers in the NBA. And let's say, even if LeBron only has 3 more seasons in the NBA, plays 72 games per season and only averages 20 points per game, which would be his career low, he'd still overtake Kareem. And that's excluding points in the playoff games. So personally, I'd be very surprised if LeBron doesn't overtake Kareem as the highest scorer in the NBA.